This is a GK Media podcast.
This podcast is part of the GK Media Studios Creators Network, helping people tell their stories. Become a storyteller today and learn about our podcaster network at gkmediastudios.com.
Hello and welcome to our brand new podcast going out each and every Friday, focusing on 4 pillars: health, wealth, business and family. And I'm joined every week by the legendary Niall Leyden, founder of Atlantic Wealth Management. Niall, great to have you in studio. I'm looking forward to this series.
Yeah, great to be here. Super excited. Thanks for having me. Like you, Gary, I suppose we share a passion for, I suppose, like what you just said there, health, wealth, business and family in no particular order. And I think, between the two of us, we have, nearly 5 decades?
Yeah.
You're wintering better than I am. But certainly looking forward to sharing with our audience, I suppose, the families, the entrepreneurs, the young and old, the swings and roundabouts, the ebbs and the flows, the ups and the downs of, business and life and obviously health and wealth.
Because people can listen back to our previous in-depth conversation on Garry Talks that went out last week. So they'll get the whole backstory of who you are, where you came from and everything like that. But the reason why to explain to who's listening today, the reason why we wanted to do this podcast is we've come across so many people in life and in business who have moments of struggle. And we have been there ourselves before, and we've shouldered people and supported people who have been in that position before. And we just thought, look, if we can just sit down, get together and talk about different learnings we have accumulated over the decades that will hopefully help people that are in business, whether it's successful times at the moment or they're struggling at the moment, that we can just kind of talk about our own experiences and it'll hopefully help people out there.
Yeah, I think so, Gary. I mean, and it's quite humbling to hear you say that. I mean, there's there are ups and downs and we've all had them.
Yeah.
There certainly is for fear of repetition, swings and roundabouts. But in business and in life, out of adversity comes, true character. And I've certainly learned that firsthand. I've made the mistakes. Al Pacino said it best in Any Given Sunday. When you're looking in the mirror and you're putting out your light at night is, are you being true to yourself, true to your family, true to your kids, true to your business? I'm very lucky. I was born into a wonderful family. I hail from Sligo, living in Galway now for the best part of 25, almost 30 years. 2 wonderful kids. Mark is 14, Michelle is 10. And Brenda hails from Donegal. And, growing up, Gary, Dad, very successful entrepreneur, very business focused, but family was 1, 2 and 3. But his mantra with us growing up was always, he had the 7P rule for the 4 of us. I was the eldest of 4 and it was perfect prior preparation, prevented poor performance. And, in sport and business and in life, whether it was going to school or helping out on the farm or in business. And Mom was very much around the whole mantra of live, love, laugh. So between the two of them, they kind of instilled that, I suppose schmacht being the Irish word for discipline. But certainly, we've seen with 2008, financially, emotionally, psychologically, not just in wealth management and in financial planning, but with health, and I'll share my own story a little bit more with you in the episodes that will come in the weeks and months and years ahead. But I think it's important for certainly our listeners, if they can take just one nugget. We always say there's a diamond in the rough, but if in each episode people are, getting a little bit of hope or a little bit of clarity or a little bit of comfort or confidence, well then, what we're doing today is well worthwhile.
Yeah. So we're going to try and focus on a certain theme every week. This week, we're going to look at this idea of people first, money second. And I think when people start up in business, things can change, costs can escalate, metrics come into it, and you really start focusing on the balance sheet, the bottom figure. You start perceiving your success on how much money you're taking in. And if you start out in business from a really good place of trying to help people, you can be molded and manipulated without fully realizing into just very much focusing on metrics.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about euro signs or dollar signs before numbers on a sheet. And it's understandable how you can get there. But that's when you actually start pulling away from your business. And often it's unknowingly as well. And I've had that experience myself as well, where I know the costs that are going out and I get, I'm not enjoying the moment. If we're doing a video shoot with someone else, in the back of my head, I know that there's X amount of invoices that have to be paid when I go home this evening. And you're losing the joy of why you set up your business in the first place. But it's so important that you put people first.
Yeah. And I think, look, you've nailed it there, Gary. I mean, when we were setting up Atlantic Wealth Management, we're just a little over a year in business. We set up on Little Christmas of 2024. Dad was born on Christmas Day, and it's always a nice time in our house. But our mantra in Atlantic Wealth is very much that: people first, money second, and beginning with the end in mind. And through college and through life, and having spent 25 years in corporate wealth management, incredibly fortunate to have met some of Ireland's greatest entrepreneurs, business owners, numerous windfall recipients, and success leaves clues. I crisscrossed the country, all 26 counties, for the best part of 2.5 decades, and I was all the time learning, because I probably lean on Dad for advice, but 2 ears and 1 mouth was and really is the key to our business, is listening, because everyone has a story to tell, whether in business and health and wealth and in life. And when we were setting up Atlantic Wealth, and we shared this on the podcast last week, the genesis of how all that happened, and why it was created, myself and our team, we thought long and hard about what best represents our values around authenticity and trust and clients, and doing the right thing, because it's always the right thing. So beginning with the end in mind. And if you think about what you've just said there with business, with GK Media or Atlantic Wealth, or to all the many hundreds and thousands listening in here today, if you look at life through the lens of what good looks like in 5 or 10 or 15 or 20 or 30 years, because in our business, we very much deal in decades. It's not weeks, it's not months, it's not years. So that mantra around people first, money second, because I would share very candidly. So the clients we've had for decades, 10, 15, 20, 25 years, and we're very humbled and greatly appreciative, and we don't take that for granted. But the key piece, Gary, for us is just that, is thinking about, okay, well, I have no right to talk to any of our clients about their money until I understand them both financially and emotionally. So it's very much, we don't manage money, we manage people and behaviors. What are our clients' goals, dreams, aspirations? What are their concerns? What keeps them awake at night? We're both part of the Schmocked community. It's an online mastermind, as a lot of people will know. It's peer-to-peer. We have 30, 40 businesses around the country. We meet every 2 weeks, but our business mentor, Pádraig O'Malley, would have often said to me, this worry formula, them 3 questions. What are you worrying about? Number 2, what can you do about it? And number 3, what will you do about it? And I've shared that with all of our clients in years gone by, and that works a treat. So whether it's in business or in health or in life, that's them 3 questions. And when you write them down, because it's busy. Everyone is high on adrenaline, and I'm kind of moving away from, even with the kids and Brendan, getting involved with sport and rugby and football and Moycullen, just step back, slow down to speed up. Very much, yes, people first, money second.
Yeah, so what you're saying there in Atlantic Wealth Management is what you do is you focus on the people in terms of building the kind of the portfolio and their needs. But I would say as well, in business, if you're looking at dealing with a client, a potential client, it is that thing of just focusing on building that relationship with that person, rather than thinking of the end goal being, I'm sending out an invoice now for X amount. And what I've noticed as well with those in business is, by building good, solid relationships with people, they may end up going on working for another company, 5 years later. But because they very much value the relationship that has grown with ourselves, they bring us into that new business then that they're working on, and sometimes it's, sitting down, catching up, having a coffee with someone with no agenda.
Correct.
And again, this is something that you're really good at, because, there are those out there, shall we say, who deal in wealth management, but it's very much a numbers game in terms of the client. You'll only hear from them maybe every 2 years or something like that, but there'll be no kind of phone call. How are you? How are things? How's the family? They might, they won't know the name of your children. They won't even know if you have children. They won't know your wife's or your partner's name or whatever.
Yeah, and I think to that point, and I don't profess to have all of the answers. And do I make mistakes? Absolutely. And I think through making those mistakes and seeing that whole transactional, I mean, everything you've just shared there is feedback we get from clients all of the time. So our ethos and the three pillars we work with in our business is very much around a purpose plan portfolio approach. And very often a client will come to us and say, look, we have an investment, or we have a pension, or we have a protection or inheritance tax need. And they're only ever the tools in the bag. So our starting point is exactly just that. So our discovery meeting, very often it's in a hotel. More often than not, it's in a client's business, in his boardroom, on his farm. And a lot people talk a lot about remote working and MS Teams and Zoom. I'm still a little bit contrarian.
Yeah.
Alternative, this firsthand, as do all of my clients all over the country. I like to be out in their homes, in their businesses. And that gives you a sense of what's their why, what's their purpose. And very often it's family, it's freedom, it's legacy. And the conversation I had only yesterday with two really good clients, and I asked them, I says, what's your definition of wealth? And we kind of spoke about that for 20 minutes. And between us both, we kind of agreed, wealth is freedom. It's freedom from financial worry. So wealth's greatest negative accomplishment is freedom from financial worry, because I know a lot of people with a lot of money, 6 and 7 and 8 figure sums, and they're not that terribly happy. So, the correlation between being rich and being wealthy is a fascinating one.
They're not terribly happy. Is that because with all that wealth brings so many problems, or?
It's wrong of me to say they're not that terribly happy, but clients will have confided, and there's been numerous studies. This is all very evidence backed. Even dealing with lots of lottery winners I've dealt with, probably too many to count over the last 25 or 30 years. But when you look at money, I mean, money is a means to an end. It's very important. It's oxygen without which we can't, fuel our lifestyle. But for me, it's all about lifestyle, because outside of good health, what does anyone want? A good lifestyle.
Yeah.
And our job is to tell people the truth about their money, because one of my greatest influencers is a guy called Paul Armstrong, talks a lot about, life is not a dress rehearsal. Precious time is slipping away. We celebrated my parents' 50th wedding anniversary there in April, mom and dad, my two best friends. And I mean, sitting down and having that conversation and thinking in my own head, I'm 50 next year. That's where I'm going to be now in the next, in the not too distant future, the next 25 years. So, money is vitally important. And it's really, so the purpose piece, number one, Gary, is your why. That's what gets you up in the morning. For me, it's Mark, it's Michelle, it's Brenda, it's my parents, it's my clients, it's the sport, it's the community, it's the parish. So that's your why. We all know what our why is. I'm incredibly passionate about wealth management, financial planning. It's a very noble profession. I've rediscovered my newfound passion for health, which we'll talk a little bit about. So I know where I'm going and what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. And the second piece then is the plan. So I've been doing that for the best part of 25, nearly 30 years. I'm not talking about a 100-page financial plan. A 2 or a 3-page, as you'd say, fluent document, ultimately it starts with, well, what do you want and when and why? So having conversations around what are your goals, what are your dreams, what are your aspirations? Then having a look and seeing, well, look at what have you got? Do a really detailed analysis in conjunction with Connie and her team, with cash flow analysis, looking at assets and liabilities, income and outcomes. Because there's essentially, I always say, 2 stages in life. There's the saving stage and the spending stage. So we put together financial plans, and they're all very holistic, needs-based, looking at a kind of a 360 approach. And then, so that's like your GPS. So you wouldn't get in a plane, Gary, or would you? Maybe you might. You're heading away shortly now to, was it?
Ibiza.
Yeah. So you wouldn't like jumping
with
on a plane.
With the kids now. There's very limited partying going on.
Yeah, but
it'd be more like, dancing in the pool, doing aerobics or whatever with every other person suffering a midlife crisis, The freedom is really key that people need to focus on the freedom, because like I live in, I would say, a very humble type house. There's nothing extraordinary whatsoever about the house that we live in, but what we love to do is travel. So I just said we're going to Ibiza. Love traveling. So I've been to loads of places this year, and we're planning loads more trips throughout the year, and taking the kids and heading off for weekends and stuff like that. And that's what I suppose not having a massive mortgage over my head allows me to be able to have the freedom to travel.
Yeah.
So success for someone could be your 6-bedroom house on top of a hill, with 4 pillars at the top, like something out of Dallas.
Yeah.
But for someone else, it's actually just having a roof over their head so they have the freedom then to do other things in life.
And Gary, that's just it. I mean, you very much mirror where we're at and what we're doing with our children. I mean, I mentioned about Mark and Michelle and Brendan having waited quite some time to have them. I mean, the small things are big things in life. And I think that shines through in our business in Atlantic Wellth. I'm following a long found passion, something that I could or should or might have done many, many moons ago, but thankfully have decided now to lace my own shoes and very much partner with businesses and clients and families that we want to work with.
Yeah.
So when the phone rings, you absolutely.
Yeah, but that's a big thing though, what you're saying is because sometimes, again, we can get caught up with, I'll just do this. I'm going to go against my gut feeling and I'm just going to go into business with this person because I know X amount I'm going to get from it. So again, you're focusing on the money rather than actually focusing on the person and saying, is this someone who aligns with me and our core values? It's an important...
And it's the law of attraction, Gary. I mean, I've been saying this for the last 12 months around tapping into a different frequency, and thankfully I've never had to worry too much about business. That has always just materialized, because that glass half full mentality and the power of positivity and your tribe and people and schmocked and good friends and family and, getting to the sea in the morning and having your ice baths and getting to the gym and doing your cycles or, whatever makes you feel good. Because again, go back to mom, I talk a lot about my parents here, but mom always would have said growing up and still does, you can't pour from an empty jug. And I did that for a long time. I've wore both jerseys. I've been, embarrassingly, I won't say burnt out, but having been in that corporate ladder and, been all things to all people and helping them make money and save tax and just, being empty. And I had my sliding doors and my, I don't know, is it serendipity or what it is with Mark saying what he did kind of in the middle of COVID around, Dad, why the pity? Why are you telling everyone how unlucky you are? You're lucky you're still here.
Yeah.
You've had your 3 accidents, but you're alive.
Yeah.
And that was, that's why I suppose maybe why we're sitting here today.
Yeah. So it's funny for, a business related podcast that we're actually telling people who may be in business, don't focus on the money. But there's a lot of truth in what we're saying of focus on the that you're working with. And then really the money does come.
Well, I think
with
so,
it,
Gary.
But not to, if you're just focusing on money in business, you're going to be brought down a path you don't want to end up being down.
Get brilliant at the basics. Vince Lombardi, I think it was 1984, my first mentor when I came into Irish Burnout back in the 90s, a gentleman called Mark McCarthy. He was really, really, just very effervescent, very polished, very professional. And I remember sitting down in Eyre Square in the canteen on the 3rd floor, and there was a big staff, wonderful staff, 5 brilliant years there. But his opening with a flip chart, I'm going back now 25 or 6 years, get brilliant at the basics. Get brilliant at the basics. So in business, obviously, there's the income and the outgoings, the assets and liabilities, but get very clear in your why. Simon Sinek talks around, we can all tell you what we do and how we do it, but why are you doing it? And that for me has worked really well. Atlantic Wellth is going from strength to strength. We've been fortunate enough to cross paths over the last 12 months, and this was, I would say, your idea, and I think it's a great idea. I mean, I'm hoping that we're going to impart some learnings from all the mistakes we've made over the last couple of decades.
Yeah. So look, your customers are people at the end of the day. So very much your business has to be people focused. That's it for this episode. Thanks so much for listening in. And I hope you can join Niall and myself again next Friday. And if you found any value in this episode, please do let us know. Share it with any friends, colleagues, people you think might find it helpful. But until we talk to you again next Friday, have a great week.